Ready?
Danny Jolles.
Let's start
Welcome.
it. Oh, it started.
Let's start.
Okay, great.
I like to start silly.
I love it. I love it. I never know what. Usually, there's like a lot of podcasts. It's like they do the whole like, "Welcome to Galina's World of Galene. My name is Galina," and then like they do their whole thing, and then they're like, "Now you," and you have to like sit quietly and wait. So I love the right away.
Oh, I
Right
do
away,
it
I'm
right
in.
away. It might be to my own detriment because I've been trying to put on my marketing hat
Uh huh.
a little bit,
Sure.
and I've been thinking no one's going to recommend this show and remember Galina Rivina podcastina. So I do think that as far as like my graphics and everything that's I'm getting in the nitty gritty, my RSS feed and all that stuff.
Sure. The RS.
I'm never going to change the name. Like, it is Galina Rivina Podcastina. I just wanted it to be my name so that I wasn't, like, locked in this little box of, like, oh, I can only talk about
Mm-hmm.
the second inning of baseball games, and that's the whole podcast or whatever.
Sure.
But I do think I'm just going to call it Podcastina, and that when I start the episodes, I should just be like, welcome to Podcastina.
Yeah.
So there we go. Welcome to Podcastina.
There you go. Yeah. But you also don't have to if you're like Danny Jolles. That's how it starts. You just wow. I think that's also unique.
Oh, thank you.
It just opens Danny Jolles, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
we're in it. We're fucking in the pod.
And also, this isn't applicable here, but I just had Amy Silverberg on, friend of the pod.
One of our best.
And I was listening back to our episode, which I thought was so delightful, but I could see how someone might maybe confuse our voices if they're just listening to the audio and be like, I don't know who's talking.
Oh, I think you guys have different voices. I don't think that's fair.
Thank you.
I think it's very different. Amy's I like Amy and I talk a lot about gambling.
Are you an addict like her?
I'm not an addict like her. I definitely love it, and I like to play poker. But she's like true. She's awesome. I think it's so cool
I do too.
how much she just goes to casinos.
I know.
Because I always like threaten to go to casinos, and sometimes I'll hang out in a casino, and I just spend a week in a casino, but I don't go like it's hard to go in LA. I feel like it's weird to go at your home. It's like if I go to Vegas or something, or like if I'm on the road sometimes, rather than like sit in my hotel room, I'll be like, but what if there's a casino nearby?
So poker's your go-to?
Poker.
Anything else?
Not really. It's
At
like,
least poker is like skill-based, yes?
totally. It's technically, and this is the sentence I'm about to say is the sentence of someone who fully has a problem. So, but understand that I don't. Poker is not gambling technically, because you are not betting against the casino. The casino is not. You're not betting against. It's the casino only gets a cut of what's going on. You're betting against other players. So it is skill based much more than other games, and more importantly, every other game in a casino, the casino is always going to win because it's a casino. Casino doesn't care who wins at poker, and that's nice.
That is a workaround.
It is. So poker, yes, poker is much more. Not just is it more skill based, but the big thing to know is you're not against the casino. That's a big deal.
So what is the casino's benefit in running poker?
So if you're playing a cash game, basically they take a cut. So it's like if you're playing a cash game, it's like every hand they take a little bit of the pot, and then every like if they do a tournament, it's like 150. It'll always say like $150 plus $20, and the 20 goes to them, and so they just take that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it because then there's got to be incentive in
Yeah,
it for
yeah, yeah.
them.
Well, they bring. I mean, it's a ton of people, and yes, they get a cut of everything, and also yes, but they do not actually win when you lose, and that's good. And that makes it okay. I scream at my wife. So that's why it's not a problem. It's not technically gambling. She's like, you're out of control.
But there's skill there because I know people learn. Well, is lying a skill with poker? Poker face? Is that where that comes from?
That is where that comes from. Lying is a skill, more so like calculations, and it's like knowing range, knowing a player's betting patterns, like all that stuff is like the really good players. Like when you watch like the really good poker players, you're like, wow, they're just so good at like Daniel Negreanu, I think, is like probably the most famous, and he'll all the time just be like, you have 2 10s. Like he'll just know what you have based on like what you've done. And it's like, that's crazy.
I'd be like, are you watching me through a window at night?
Yeah. And the answer is he might be. He's a weird guy. But I watch his vlog. Weird guy. But he's very good at poker. And he's made bazillion dollars.
Oh, I'm sure that's just one of those things that, like, if you're good at it, you are set forever.
Totally. Oh, there's people who make a lot of money playing poker. I feel like they're crazy.
Their families are home crying.
Not if they make that amount of money.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
No, contraire. He seems to be doing quite well. I think his wife, I believe he has a wife. She seems quite happy. They live in a lovely house.
She hasn't seen him in 15 years.
She hasn't seen him in 15 years. She sees a blur go by. She's like, he's out there again.
She's like, I see the bank account. That's all I need to see.
It's doing well. He wins.
Yeah.
He wins a lot, but then they also lose a lot. It's tough. It's a tough world. Anyway, so yes, I do that stuff. Have you ever played poker? You don't do that ever.
No, I've never played poker, and now I feel like
What's like your like hobby?
Oh, I have several. I'm a big like hobby dweeb.
Yeah,
actually, I am.
Me too. But what are your?
So my big one is surfing. That's like the thing. That
Oh,
I'm
you're
the
part of that
most obsessed with.
surfing club.
I'm part of the well, yes and no.
Because I've a lot of comics getting suckered into surfing these days.
It's true. It
And
was
by
a pandemic
suckered in,
hobby.
I mean, it's a wonderful thing. It's a great
It is.
thing.
It is. Yeah, and it's
It's outdoors. You're getting to know what you're getting out there.
getting that vitamin D.
Yup.
Getting all the it does release like all the good happy chemicals all at the same time, because you get endorphins from the exercise part, you get dopamine from the like wee of like catching a wave, you get what are all the other happy chemicals? There's two more.
Cold water, so that's good. You're getting a little bit of whatever
The
that.
shock.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah. You're
A
supposed
little
to
bit
do
of that.
Ice water. So.
I already said endorphins. There's just a lot of really fun things that go into it, and then I also don't mind sucking at a new hobby.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge skill set.
Helps a lot, because I've been surfing for 4 years pretty consistently, and I've only gotten okay at it within the last 1 to 2 years.
That's exciting.
It's so exciting.
I mean, that's the thing with stand-up, right? Like, how many young people, like, you talk to, and they're like, I'm getting good. And I'm like, you're not good, and it's going to take a while until you're good, and that's part of it. And they just can't handle sucking at it.
But with comedy, you don't know you suck. With surfing, you know you suck.
That's true. But, I mean, like, yes, but at some point, like, you don't know you suck when you're doing open mics. The second you do a real show, you will figure out pretty quickly that you are not ready.
Yeah.
Like, that is, it'll get you.
It'll get you.
It'll get you. Stand up will eventually teach you you are not ready.
That's for sure. And actually, this is how intense I get with my hobbies. I'm 8 days out from going to Costa Rica for surf camp. So I'm explicitly going to surf camp. 7 days of lessons, like one-on-one. I'm getting like an analysis video on day 1 so they can show me everything I'm doing wrong.
That's
and
great.
Then, thank you. Tutor my lessons, like do a lesson plan based on where I'm at. And I know where I'm at. I can catch waves. I can pop up. I can't turn. And when I turn, it's like a happy accident.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to learning how to turn. And then that way I can stay on a wave longer and then learn all the stuff that you're supposed to learn after you're actually on the wave for longer. Because right now it's like, if I can't get past turning, I can't learn all the other things I need to learn.
Totally. I play golf. That's another one of mine. And my wife, she has, she threatens to play with me. But I'm like, if you're really serious, like, I'm always like, if you want to get good at golf, you have to go to a camp. Just go to a camp. And I think it's the same with like anything where like you got to intensify. Because if you just do even 1 week of hard intensity, it'll set you up for success.
1000%. And you need to have lessons too. I never had a proper surfing lesson. I was with that like surf club initially, and then they never added me to the group text, which still breaks my heart.
What?
I know. So I never got a lesson. I was never like, it was always, oh, just come with us and flail around on your own 20 feet away from the rest of us.
That's not fun. That's not nice.
But it'll be good to have. I should have gotten lessons back in 2020. I've just been for 4 years, just kind of winging it.
Well, it was COVID times. We all were. We were confused.
Everyone was winging it.
We didn't know what the world was.
Yeah.
It was a weird time.
I was wiping my cereal boxes.
Our saddest moment, we cooked sushi.
Oh.
Because my wife really wanted sushi, but we were like, well, can we just have food? Like, you're supposed to put everything in the oven. And so we like put sushi in the oven for like a couple minutes.
Oh no.
And
Was it so nasty?
It was actually we were so, because it was like the big debate was like it's my wife's favorite thing and we couldn't have it. So I think we were so happy when like it didn't taste terrible and it was like whatever. But that was our darkest period. Our darkest moment was we were cooking sushi. That was tough. That was a tough time. It was tough. We didn't know what we were doing. So you're getting graded surfing. That's a big one. That's a great hobby.
It's a big one. Yeah. And this one's brand new. This one we're like 2 months in.
Okay.
Pickleball.
Oh, the world, taking over the world.
I know, fastest growing sport in America.
Fastest growing sport in America.
Have you played?
I did a short film where I played pickleball and I had a professional pickleball player teach me.
There's professional pickleball players.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
That takes me right. It doesn't feel serious, and like I just read an article that a 95-year-old won a tournament. So to me,
Yes.
I'm like professional.
Well, there's a
pickleball?
huge fight in pickleball because I believe younger people are coming in and beginning to dominate the sport as it's growing, right? Like actual athletes are like, "Oh, I'll fucking do this and I'll kill you all." And so I believe there's a huge fight right now in the professional ranks because they are trying to keep like young athletic people out and being like, you have to be a certain age. They're like trying to take the athleticism out of the sport. And I don't think that's right.
I don't think that's right either. I've played a handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
The most challenging thing about playing is finding available court time because it's so popular
Mm-hmm.
that all the courts by me, like, there is a wait. The
Oh, yeah.
first couple times I went, it was on a Friday night. Like,
Mm-hmm.
most people are at the bar.
Yeah.
It's 9 p.m. I'm at Memorial Park in Santa Monica, and I'm waiting an hour for court time.
That's wild. Are you with anybody or are you just like...
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have, I've gotten my roommate to play with me, so she's
Great.
been coming out with me.
Huge.
And then I got Ian Edwards, friend of the pod.
One of our best.
I got him to play with me, which was so funny.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I would love to see him in shorts.
He was not in shorts.
Oh. God, that really would have been exciting for me to see him in shorts.
I've been to Costa Rica with him, and I don't think he wore shorts.
Wow.
Then.
That's wild. I respect the hell out of it. I'm not a shorts guy either. But if you play sports with me, I will put on shorts.
Yeah, which you would think it would, but he's also like a big tracksuit guy. So he showed up in a tracksuit.
He is who he is. You know, he's got a unique way of living, and I love the man. Great comic. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. So I forced him to do it, and then two of my other friends, they ordered like the paddles, and turns out, okay, so my friend's brother is stupid wealthy and loves to move a lot.
Love that.
Great combo.
Love that.
And the house that he just moved into, believe it or not, has a private pickleball court. So I'm about to be a monster.
That's big.
The last time I played was a couple nights ago at his backyard pickleball court.
And he's cool with it.
He's totally cool with it, and
That's
he loved
huge.
it too. And he had one lesson, and he was just like murdering all of us.
Oh, great. I felt like I got pretty good in my one little time. In my 2-day, it was 2-day shoot? 3-day shoot? 2-day shoot? But in that time, I felt like I got really good. But I also was playing with this guy who was like really good. But not that good.
It's just so fun. I realized it reminds me of badminton, which I played a lot as a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Badminton.
Because of the like the weight of stuff and the
Yeah.
effort level to me is the equivalent. Like tennis to me is
I think it's more so
hard.
surprising you played badminton. Not that I totally see the comp to badminton. I come from a tennis background.
Yeah.
So pickleball is very confusing to me at first. He was really like, my swing is way too big.
Yeah.
Because I have a tennis swing, so my swing is like way back. He was like,
My biggest problem is that the ball is going way too far. Like I hit it out
Yeah.
most of the time. That's like my biggest issue.
Gotta stay out of the kitchen. I remember these phrases. I learned. I still like playing tennis sometimes,
I've never really played tennis,
but
but
then
yeah,
golf
lots
took
of...
over. Golf took over for me, and now I'm
Yeah.
really trying to get into golf.
Are you good at golf?
Yeah. The fun thing about golf, / devastating thing about golf, is that everybody's good for a shot or two. So you taste great. Like it's the only sport, my friend said this, and I thought it was very astute. He said it's the only sport you can play where you will hit a shot and it will be as good as the best player in the world. Like you'll hit an iron and it will land right next to the pin, and you're like, I could watch TV, I could watch a PGA event. Half of them will not hit that good a shot. The problem is they're consistently doing that, and I can't consistently do it. But that's the fun thing about golf. The fun thing about golf is you have moments, and you'll even have like full rounds where you're like, I'm playing out of my mind good, and then you're fall apart, and
That's where the skill comes in.
that's where the skill comes in. The consistency is really same with stand up. I'm also always like, everybody can have a good set.
Mm-hmm.
True stand-ups, it's about consistency. It's the consistency of the sets. But everybody can have a good. You will go to a bringer show, you'll see people have great sets who have no clue what they're doing. But it's like in the right room, right circumstance, everybody can make contact with the ball
For the right amount of time.
for the
too.
right amount of time. Everybody can get that feeling of, ooh, I'm actually pretty good. But it's like, no. Can you do 20 shows in 20 different rooms and get a pop in every and get them in every room? That's a real comic to me. That's the coolest like thing about seeing sometimes like some of the best in LA do like small rooms and seeing them like adjust. That's always like I get a real kick out of that.
I do love that. And stand up versus all these other hobbies that we're talking about, I feel like with surfing, with pickleball, with all these things, other than stand up, you have such like a rapid improvement in the beginning. There's such a steep learning curve, and you're able to gain so much skill initially until you plateau, and then you're going to suck for years on end.
Yes.
Whereas like the plateau is pretty immediate in comedy. Like you really have to suck for,
Yes.
I would argue, at least 5 years.
Yeah, it's like what is suck? It's like you definitely suck your first two.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there it's like, you know, your first. Then it's like anywhere after that you could get better, but you're still not going to be like, you know, amazing for quite some time. And it's very similar to a lot of these sports where like even golf, right? Like you can feel like you're good, and then you play with somebody who's actually good, and you're like, oh, I'm terrible. I thought I was good. It's like same with stand up where it's like you think you're doing pretty good, and then you're on like a real show at a real club, and you're like, oh shit. Like you watch, you know, one of the best go up, and you're like, oh, they are on a different planet than me. I'm not even close to that good. Oh no. I thought I was good.
Yeah, but those are the things that I have a friend who refuses to try new things and pick up hobbies because she's afraid of like the sucking thing.
That's not good.
But I'm like, that's actually having the opposite effect because it's the improving at the hobbies that is like the self-esteem builder. Like no sensation is as good as that of, oh my God, I just learned to catch a wave finally.
1,000,000%. When people are like, what still inspires you to do stand up? I'm always like, a new joke. I'm like, the feeling of a new joke working, that's never going to get old for me.
Never.
That will always be such a thrill. It's like, yeah, when I do my hour, you know, once I have an hour that's good and I'm locked in, and it's like, yeah, it can get a little repetitive sometimes on the road. Just like, we're doing it, we know it. But then, like, you try a new joke in the middle, and it works, and you're like, fuck yeah, I'll do this forever. Yeah, like, that never stops. I think with golfers, like, you hear about golfers who've been doing it for, like, 30 years, and they're, like, Tiger Woods, like, changes his swing all the time. He has to change his swing. It's like, that's so cool to me.
It is.
And hobbies are fun. I love a good hobby.
Oh, me too. And I love a hobby where I completely get to take the, because stand up for us isn't a hobby, it's a job. But like,
Yes.
I know I'll never get paid to play pickleball, and that's what's so refreshing about it is I can just have fun with it, and there's no pressure because I'm trying to do it professionally.
Totally. That is true. It's like, yeah, golf I'll never be a professional at. I think those days are gone.
I feel like I would like golf.
You'd love it. It's fun. Come
I
on.
want to go to Top Golf.
Top golf is fun. Top
Yeah.
golf isn't real golf to me though.
But isn't that where you, it's a like a good venue to learn swinging?
Kind of. It's like same with anything where I'm like, kind of, if you really want, it's like if you want to just like have fun playing golf, totally. If you like want to play golf, you need to go to a camp.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need somebody like really teach. Like me trying to explain to my wife how to play was brutal.
Did she actually go with you then to the course?
She went to a driving range with me, but I was like, I'm also not good enough to be giving lessons, right? So I'm like, no, you fucking hit it. Just hit the ball, like, you know, it's this, you do this, and you fucking hit it. But she got better. But I was like, you need to go to lessons if you want to play with me. because I'm not going to have you dragging me down on the course, you know? I have a reputation to uphold.
But it's individual scores. Yeah, it's not like team scores.
It isn't, you can do team, but like, yes, it's mostly individual scores. But golf is one. This might be similar in surfing, where it's like you kind of got to keep pace with the group. So it's like you can suck, but you need to keep your speed up. So you got to suck fast. Is the way I've always I'm like you. It's not about being good or bad, but like it is a problem if you're like slowing everybody down. Then you are hated.
Yeah.
But
Not as much a thing in surfing because the speed will be dictated by what's going on with the water. Nobody has control of that.
Sure.
But if there's a big set coming,
Except God.
you better, that's right.
Except God, of course.
You better paddle for your life.
Uh-huh.
It's very humbling, which is the other thing that I think I enjoy about it so much, is that it's so dangerous that it has no choice but to also be very meditative.
Yeah.
Because I cannot sit around and think about, oh, well, this clip didn't perform well on YouTube because I'm about to get knocked out by a wall of water if I don't move my ass.
That is true. That's real. That's true with like golf and poker too, where it's like you can only go so far away before you have to be like, oh yeah, focus on the thing, which I do like. I like being taken away. Same with like, yeah. I don't know. I'm looking for more hobbies. I try to find more.
What do you do like to take care of your mental? Are you like a meditating guy or do you journal?
I can't meditate. My brain can't shut down like that. I try. I've tried 1,000 ways. I just can't meditate. I do not journal. I don't know. I think that I'm a big. I've debated. It's like I go to therapy, sure, but therapy I think is a complicated thing because I think that there are a lot of really bad therapists out there, and so I know a lot of people whose therapy has made them, I think, much worse than they were going into it, and so I think for me, I think right now I have a very good therapist. But I also think therapy, unless you're doing it really consistently, it's not able to really, like, I don't make leaps and bound improvement there. I think for me, it's a lot about, like, I have a couple, like, philosophies I really stick to. I find those help me. I get eczema right here on my hand.
Yeah, I get eczema as well.
Yeah.
It's because we're Jewish, dare I say?
I think it's anxiety, which could be from the Jewishness, but
all roads lead back to Jewish.
Sure. But I get dyshidrosis eczema, so I get these like disgusting bumps on my hand right here always. But I actually kind of love it because it's my body like telling me to chill. So I kind of have this nice little check from my body where I'll be like, "Ooh, you're out of control," and then, I don't know. I have a couple of philosophies. I think I'm pretty calm, and then stand up is so big because it gives me this like. I think a lot of people get, and this might be very wrong, but I think a lot of mental stuff comes from sometimes overanalyzing and stressing, and stand-up gives you this thing to put your mind towards. Same with acting. Acting gives you something you have to lock in, and I think that really helps because you can only spend so much. There's a lot of people who they spend, I feel like, the majority of their day like working on themselves, and you can overwork on yourself. I think that's like a very real thing, at least for me. Sometimes if I I'm gonna work on it. It's like, I don't know. I'll be like at the end, I'm like, I think I'm worse. I think I'm like more in my head than I've ever been. You want to keep it nice middle amount.
You said you have philosophies.
I do. I have a lot of philosophies.
Let's hear them.
Well,
Well, hit me with one.
I mean, so this says, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
Oh, I love that.
I wear that anytime I'm doing anything. I had a thing this morning, the pitch, so I wore it in there because I always I wear it every time I do stand up. And that's something I always try to keep in mind is let's success and failure is really dangerous way to look at things because then you won't try new things if you go, I'm going to fail. So a lot of times it's not just doing a joke, but doing the joke that if every joke worked, what's the joke you would tell? That philosophy is really helpful, and that's true of life, of knowing if all the same, what would you do with your life? What would you be trying to do? What would you so yes, that's a big one for me. Never too high, never too low. I always think that's a good one.
I like that.
Can't go too high, can't go too low. Got to stay even keel. What happens, happens, particularly in this industry. People who ride it, I'm like, you can't ride like this. Even when they're up here, I'm like, can't ride it like that.
No, you can't.
Can't ride it.
It's so fleeting.
You got to just stay in the middle. It's sometimes sad because, my wife gets very frustrated because sometimes good things will happen. And I'll be like, cool. She's like, what are we doing? like you've worked so hard for that and you just cool. That's all we get. And I'm like, gotta keep it chill. Gotta keep it chill. Because then when something really bad happens, I'm like, okay, love that news. We're going to be fine. Like, gotta stay chill. So never too high, never too low. What are some other good ones I use?
Never too high, never too low. I think that's like a cheat code for staying off the hedonic treadmill, isn't it?
Ooh, what's that?
Oh, it's the...
It sounded really smart, though. You said it, and I went, ooh, that sounds good. What's the hedonic?
Hedonic treadmill is the basically sensation of like we're always adapting to whatever is going on in our life. So when it comes to positive things, like let's say, oh my God, I accomplished this insane thing. I think all my problems are going to be fixed when I make $1 million, right? Then you make $1 million, you adjust. So it no longer, you don't have that high. It doesn't carry you the way that you think it's going to carry you because you've adjusted. Your body gets used to what your median is. So the treadmill means that you're just like now having to reach for some much bigger goal, thinking, well, that'll be the goal that's going to keep me set at this level of contentness and happiness and joy. It's not, because we're always adapting, right? It's like an evolutionary psychology thing where like you're always...
Whoever came up with this is very smart.
Yes, thank you so much. Wish I could credit you. Not that smart. Smart enough to know about it. Not smart enough to know who came up with it.
Whoever it was, though, that's really true and very smart. It's actually why I said, like, I ran a marathon last year.
Good for
this
you.
year. And it was one of the best things I've done for many reasons. But one of them was because you do it and it's done and you're like, that's that. There is no next thing.
You're not going to do a triathlon.
I'm not going to do a triathlon. It was just like, wow, I put my mind to something, I did it, and I'm never doing that probably ever again. It was like, it's a really cool thing to do that I recommend people do because it takes you out of the, will I do it again? How will I do it? It's like, you're like, I'm going to try to do this thing. I did this thing. It was hard. I did it. You feel really good about yourself.
I commend you. I did a half marathon once. I will never run as long as I live.
You can do it. Anybody can do a marathon, is my firm belief, as long as you don't have like crazy injuries.
Yeah, which is maybe the issue for me because at about mile 11, I felt both of my knees pop and they've kind of never been the same.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah.
You should get those looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, look, you're going to injure yourself. That is a part of running a marathon. It's just like, you're going to injure yourself. So, yeah, I had hurt my ankle and knee going. I'd run 2 halves.
Wow.
And then the month before, but you're supposed to keep going. So you're supposed to do like 18, 19 before you actually run the marathon. After the second half, felt my ankle, my knee. So I stopped running for basically like a month. And I kind of, in my mind, was like, I don't think I'm actually going to run this thing. Like, I think it just didn't happen. And then the weekend before, I was like, let me give it a shot. Everything feels rested. And I ran like 11 and I didn't hurt. And I was like, let's wing it. Let's give it a shot. And so, yeah, but I showed up. I'd never run more than half when I ran the marathon.
And have you been like a lifelong runner?
No.
Because running,
that's
I
why
think,
I'm like, anybody can do it.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, anybody can do it. You just follow a schedule. You do it. You follow it.
I don't like running enough.
And let me tell you, the problem with training for a marathon is minus the injuries is less. It's hard, and more,
it's boring.
The fucking amount of time you have to spend running is just, it's like every Saturday you're supposed to do these long runs. So
that's
it's like,
what keeps me out of it.
Hours and hours. Because I would go to the fucking,
Did you go to a track?
Yeah, but it has a word. It's like around the lake, and there's a thing you call it.
Hollywood Lake?
Yeah, but it's called something. Anyway, the point is, you run that loop, And it's like, you drive there, you run this loop. It's over and over. I listened to Harry Potter the whole time. And, you just listening to Harry Potter. It's brutal.
I get it's tough because I am like so passionate about working out and it's such like a mainstay in my life. But I get so
Great.
bored, which is why I need to integrate like we talk about hobbies. All my hobbies are workout hobbies because
That's
I'm trying to
great.
break the monotony, right? Like I don't get bored in surfing, I don't get bored in
I
pickleball.
wish I had more workout hobbies. I work
That's the
out,
trick.
but I don't like it.
Nobody likes it. You're not supposed to like it. You're just supposed to do it.
There are people who love it.
I think they're
People
lying.
at my gym, some of them love it.
Who could love lifting weight? It's so boring.
Oh,
You have to do it. Listen, you have to do it.
You have to do it. I do it as much as I could I do it more? Yes, but I do it a solid amount. You absolutely have to. I think like everybody. I think like I wish it was taught in school. I wish I had been taught more in school about
Me too.
like just like how much it matters. Like I'm not even old, and I have friends who are starting to really have their bodies break down because they just do not move. And I'm like, yeah, you have to. You have to prioritize it. It will not. You cannot just, and you can't just eat healthy and think it's going to work out. You have to move your body consistently, or it will start to go on you. And so, like, yeah, I really wish I had learned how to lift, particularly as a kid. Never learned. Now, partially by choice, I was in the theater. Oops a days. But like, man, the amount, I still don't feel comfortable in a gym. I've never felt comfortable in a gym. I always am in there like, and I wish I didn't feel that way.
What does a gym session look like for you?
I use my what?
Walk me through your routine.
So full gym session is I use this little app that I guess I'll plug it. I don't care. It's an app called Zing, I believe. And it is like an AI trainer. And it tells you what to do. And so I'll do upper body or lower body usually. And it's like 30 minutes of lifting various things. And I'll lift those things. It's good. Usually upper body. And then like I am with some abs. And then if I'm not running, which I'm not right now, so like I just do 12 through 30. Hot girl workout.
Love that.
Love a 12 through 30. Incline 12, speed 3, 30 minutes. You get a little sweat, watch a little TV, have myself a good time.
And then are you coming home having a protein shake? Or are you doing supplements?
I'll do a protein shake all day. Gotta do a protein. Gotta get in those proteins. Never enough.
Never enough.
That is wild when you start working out. The amount of protein you are supposed to have is
your body weight.
Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Impossible to have.
Even for me, who like doesn't weigh a lot just because I'm so small, and me trying to get what I need in it, it's like I have to eat meat at every turn, and then I also have to have protein shakes.
It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of protein they want you to have. I'm like, who can do this?
But it does keep me from eating junk because I do stay full. If I start my day with 3 eggs, then I don't want all of a sudden a cookie at noon.
Yeah, I should do more eggs.
Yeah.
I don't do a ton of eggs. I'll do meat, and then I do the protein shake. But I wish there was like a pill that just had like 100 grams of protein or something. Just you could just like get it.
I know. Well, they say that dog food is very high in protein, but this is not me making a recommendation.
I feel like someone took you for a lark and said dog food does it, and then you're eating dog food. That cannot be true.
I mean, I am giving it to my love child, so.
Yeah. How old's your dog now?
He's 3.
Oh. Cute.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he took a tumble yesterday. It was cute but sad, but he's okay.
Yeah, it's tough when they fall.
It's tough when they fall. He sleeps on the bed with me.
Oh. Let me tell you. Hard Danny philosophy, no dogs on the bed.
Oh.
And my fucking wife.
I'm on her side.
Oh my God. Because we have a dog. We had a dog. Great dog. Can't jump up on the bed. Love that about that dog. She got a fucking puppy. This dog can jump on the bed, but we had trained it. You do not sleep on the bed. The dog was respectful. And then I fucking went on the road, and she had the dog sleep on the bed. And now, every night, full fight with this dog. I have to have a full yelling match with this dog. And then now the dog has learned that at night, it doesn't sleep on the bed. Still fights me every night. Still pretends it forgot that this is a rule.
With the dog.
And then, but then at like this dog at like 5 a.m. I think wakes up and just waits for anybody to move or do any. And the second it hears it, it's like, I'm allowed up. And it goes up. And then the other dog, who's too small, but is obviously now like, oh, we're allowed up on the bed. So it starts smacking the side of the bed until I pull it up. And then they both are on the bed. And it makes me so mad. So mad. I hate dog on the bed. Anyway, go on.
So my Monty is the most respectful bed sharer in the world. So he sleeps at my feet. He does not wake me up until he is positive that I am awake.
That's very nice.
It's really really cute and thoughtful on his end. But I said good morning to him yesterday, and he started doing his stretches, and he fell. He stretched right off the bed, and I wasn't even fully conscious yet, and I hear just this loud thud. I look up and he's not there. And I jump out of bed and I get him, and just a minute, he was okay, but the thud it made was so ridiculous.
Oh sure. Oh, yeah. It's brutal. It's a brutal seeing a dog fall. When we got the puppy.
Were you about to call it the stupid?
Yeah. Dog and I still have a little bit of a contentious relationship, but we're working through it. We got through it. We have moments of real love. Mm-hmm. We have some moments of...
The second dog wasn't your idea?
Was not. Not my idea. And I'll tell you what. I would encourage anybody, if you are in a relationship and one of you wants a dog and one of you doesn't, do not get a dog. Unless you want that relationship to go to the brink. So, we're okay. But let me tell you, that dog pushed us. This dog, when we first got it, 3 days into its time with us, we were fighting about said puppy. And my wife opened the door, smashed this dog's paw in the door, broke two of its toes. So we had a loud, high-energy puppy that was also in a cast. Brutal times. Let me tell you. Nothing worse than hurting a dog. So brutal.
I mean, you'll never feel more like a piece of shit in
Particularly
your
a puppy.
life.
We literally, the yell this dog made when it happened, it was truly because it's a puppy. So it was it truly experienced pain for the first time. To hear a dog be like, oh, that exists. And be like, I'm so sorry we brought this into your life. That said, very cautious dog as a result. And I do like that. I do like we have a very, she's very, take it easy. Take it easy. Everybody easy. She doesn't trust doors.
She shouldn't.
They burned her once. Been burned once by a door. I get it. Yeah, but she's a very sweet dog. Definitely.
I think people just don't appreciate how much work puppies are.
I hear ya.
It's so much work. I kind of forgot because this is my second dog.
Yeah.
My first dog, who passed at 13, was very sick. It was unfortunate, but I had gotten her when I was very, very young.
13's a good dog.
Absolutely.
Good dog. Had a good
100%.
dog life.
Had a great dog life, but I think I was 18 or 19 when I had gotten her, and so I kind of forgot what that was like.
Yeah.
Nor did I even, I think, handle that initial puppyhood correctly.
Sure.
So when I got Monty and he was 5 months old, it was just I was just flooded with all this responsibility of, oh my God, I gotta take this dog out 8, 9, 10 times a day until he figures out not to pee in the house.
And they never do.
The crying. No, thankfully, he doesn't pee in the house now. He learned quick.
Daphne still every now and then will get
no.
me. And let me tell you.
Did you crate train?
I flip it, of course. I flip a shit every time. I flip an absolute shit. I do not have the patience. Everybody's like, you're not supposed to yell. I'm like, well, I do. Well, I do fucking yell at it because it must know that it's not wrong. Yeah, no, this dog and I, again, we've built up to a very nice working relationship. But
you're just enemies living under the same roof.
Well, now I see. So now, because she knows I'll yell. Never hit, but I yell. I let her know I do not approve of this behavior that we have covered before. So every time she pees in the house, the way I know she's peed in the house is she'll sprint into her crate.
Uh-oh.
So I'll also be like, hi, Daphne. And she'll just sprint into her crate. And I'll be like, what the fuck did you do? And then I start peering around the house. And then sometimes I think she gets confused and she's like, maybe I did something wrong. Because I'll be mad at something, sports or something. So she'll go into a crate, and then I'm like, "Did you pee in the house, or are you just like freaked out by me right now?" And I go, "We run around the house." She runs into a crate, but yeah, she's crate trained, which is
It's
great.
the way to do it.
You gotta crate train.
You got a great train.
It's tough, but you gotta do it.
Are you like very intense when you watch sports?
So intense.
Who are your teams?
DC Sports, baby. Commanders, Nationals, Wizards, Capitals. And let me tell you, what a time to be a Commanders fan. Am I right?
Is it? I don't know anything about. I couldn't even tell you what sport Commanders are. Sorry.
Yeah. Nobody knows the name because it's a new name. We are a football team.
Oh, okay.
We are a football team.
Oh, did that used to be the Redskins?
Yes.
Now I know. Oh, see, proud of myself for knowing that. Well, my baseball team is the Guardians, so
Sure, I love the Guardians. Great
we've
team.
been through that as well.
Great team. Still in the playoffs.
You know better than I do.
Did you? Oh, okay. I was like, you might have been eliminated yesterday, but I don't think so.
I think growing up in Cleveland is why I'm not a sports fan.
Sports culture is a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think sports culture turns a lot of people off of sports, which is a bummer. 'Cause sports is the best thing on earth, and I think everybody should watch sports, and everybody would learn a lot from sports. I think sports is great. I could talk about how much I love sports for hours, and how much sports teaches you about life. I think everybody, particularly right now, I've been trying to work on this joke for forever. Will never work, but how much like I watch politics, and I'm like, I just wish everybody watched sports, because sports teaches you how to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody needs to learn how to lose again.
Ooh.
Sports teaches you that. Sports, you watch a team and you love this team and you are fed. I've been trying to do this joke for so long and it just doesn't work in LA. So it's like, I just don't know how I can work on it because it works on the road. But being like, if you think Fox News or MSNBC is slanted, wait until you watch local sports TV. Like, those things are so geared to just convince you your team is the best team. Like, your team is... You'll read everything nationally that's like, your team sucks. This team is going to be so bad. And you tune in and they're like, this is our year. And you're like, okay. But then every year, there's 32 teams. One team wins. So in football. So it's like 31 teams end with, it's over. Your team sucks and they lost. And you have to start over. You watch this entire season for nothing. You don't get a ring. You don't get anything, etc. And you have to accept it. And you can't be like, the refs are like, it's rigged. Like, and like, it is starting to make its way into sports. People being like, it's rigged. And it's like, no, it's not. You just didn't win. People need that in politics right now. Sometimes you don't win.
That's a refreshing way of looking at it. And I do think that that is probably why a team like the Browns, who I know unbiasedly is not a very good football team and never has been.
We just beat the absolute bejesus out of you guys.
But still, I hear from Browns fans year after year, they're like, no, but this quarterback, seriously, no, our defense, this, you do, and whatever argument they have.
You believe, well, because that's the beauty of sports, is you believe. It's the same thing like, you know, with America, right? It's like you still believe in America. You can have issues with your team. You can be sometimes embarrassed to root for your team. You can be frustrated with management and coaching of your team, but you never quit on your team. You still are always going to be at your core an American. You're always at your core a Commanders fan. I've rooted for some of the worst teams ever. I had a corrupt owner for decades. I had a truly evil man at the head, but I never quit on my team. That's my team. And it's great. I mean, yeah, I love sports. It's the best. I think everybody should watch sports. I have a joke right now about fighting, and I love telling it. I love doing it in LA.
About like UFC?
Yeah. I love doing it in LA because nobody knows what I'm talking about when I start. And it's so nice.
What is that about LA? Because there are pockets of LA that are sports fans, but they are not the same population that attends comedy shows.
Totally. And then like, I just think that it's a different type of sports culture out here. It's not like, I've said this in New York and LA, both those places. I'm like, as someone who grew up in Virginia, I'm like, the idea of walking into bars and there's no TVs, I'm like, that will just never not boggle my mind. Every time I walk into a bar in LA and I'm like, not a single TV. You guys are just raw dog in the wall. Like, you don't want to put up a TV for the game? Like, it boggles my mind how many bars do not have a TV. Crazy to me.
And I have never noticed.
I notice all, times I go in a bar, I'm like, you don't have one TV. You don't want to just chuck on the game. You don't want people to sit at your bar and watch something.
That's so fascinating.
Drives me nuts. So yes, it is hard. I also think LA in general, like when you go to LA is such a showy town that a lot of times like I'll go to a you go to a Rams game, it's like a quarter of that stadium is comped with from companies and from the studios and from those places, and so they're not real fans. Like a lot of times when you go to those games, like it's people just wanting to be there to be seen, and that really pisses. Lakers games are famous for it,
Yeah, that's true.
and it's like, but that isn't real sports. I'm like, everybody at a Commanders game fucking paid to be at a Commanders game. Maybe not everybody, but like a lot of people paid to be there. A lot of times it's like they're fans of the team. It's like you don't just get like free tickets. I get, with my little bit of success in Hollywood, I get a lot of free tickets and I take advantage of it. But I'm always like, that sucks. I don't like that. I don't like these free tickets. They shouldn't be giving out free tickets. You should be. But then there are definitely some intense Dodgers fans for sure.
There's just so many other things to do. I think part of why
Totally. We live in a booming metropolitan.
we do, because in Cleveland there's just not a whole ton to do.
Totally.
So much of the sports fandom comes from the fact that like that is a play, like you go to a Cavs game
Yes.
to be seen and to have something to do that's not the usual like, oh, we're gonna go to the movies and out for drinks.
Season tickets for so many people are like, that's their thing.
Right.
Like, and if I ever move back to DC, if my career ever gets to that place where I'm able to not live in LA, we'll see. But if I was able to move back to DC, it'd be so cool to have season tickets. I'd be so pumped.
Would you want to live somewhere else?
If I could. If Hollywood, if it didn't, I mean, it's hard because I have to do stand up, right? So it's like the idea of fully living outside, like, I can never not live in a city. And I know there are comics who have very recently started kind of adopting this, like, I work the road so much, I just don't. But I think that is I think that reflects, I think the fact that you're not grinding, I think reflects in what I've seen. I've yet to see somebody leave a major city and their stand-up get better.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to be pushed. You have to.
Or you already have to be at the top.
You have to be at the top, but even if you're at the top, right? Like, stand-up is like golf. It's like any sport. It's like, we know some people. I know plenty of people who are wildly talented who got to the top and then stopped grinding. And it's not that they're bad now, but you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that they're not grinding anymore. And then you watch somebody like Bill Burr, who will drop in sometimes on tiny shows and goes up at the store and the factory, and you watch him grind new material. It's not fun, but it shows. It shows how good he is. You see it from him. Like, you can tell. You can tell who grinds and when somebody decides, I'm good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the beauty of stand-up, baby. You can't get lazy.
No, you can't get lazy. And I love that, but I try to not use it, like, weaponize it in a way where I'm like, oh, I haven't grinded. I haven't done 18 sets this week, so
Yes.
I'm not working on my thing. And it's really hard to be in a place where I theoretically could be doing the most.
Yes.
And then I take time off, and then I weaponize it against myself.
Never too high, never too low.
Yes.
I think there's people who go up 20 times in a week, and I'm like, yeah, but you're not getting better. Like, that's crazy. That's too much. You need to take time to think about, I'm New York. Like, I'll sometimes go to New York, people are like, I did 5 sets in a night. And I'm like, that's crazy. You heard this same joke bomb 5 times. Like, you don't want to take a fucking second and think about the joke. You only need a couple times before you need to go home and rethink the joke. You can't just, like, it's too many.
It's true.
So it's like, there's those people where you're like, that's not good. And like when we first started, there's people who do 4 open mics a night. And you're like, come on.
But I think you used to do 4, but I remember you were actually like grinding the joke out in between. Like if I was at the same places as you that night, your joke was changing from room to room.
Room to room, but still 2 or 3 is my max. I always needed to go home and think. To this day, in LA in particular, but even in New York, 2 to 3 is my max. I don't like doing more than that. I think that it's detrimental. So you never go too high, but then never too low. Sometimes it's like, I'm going to do 1 or 2 spots a week. And it's like, can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Can't be doing 1 or 2 a week consistently. It'll show. It'll show. And you can't be doing just the road because, particularly at a certain point, those are your fans, and that's cheating.
Agreed.
That's cheating. We all can make. If I fill a room with my people, yeah, I'm gonna do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a little unfair.
How do you decide when you're ready to record an hour?
Well, I'm a gimmick guy. So famously gimmicks. So for me, it's like I'm usually building towards a thing. Since my first hour was like, I have an hour, I've done this hour, I feel good about this hour. But my second one, I built towards a thing, and I wanted to do the choose your own thing, and I built towards it. So at a certain point, I knew I had it. This most recent one that I just filmed, another gimmick. So I kind of knew at a certain point,
She's cooked.
she done, baby. Yeah, the way this one went down, I have excess material, which is a problem for me. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with all that stuff. But that's
Good
correct.
problem to have.
Great problem to have. To film an hour and be like, I got 30 still,
Wow.
just ready to go. I don't know what to do with you. So that's a great problem. Great problem to have. But yeah, I think you kind of feel it. And like, particularly if you're building towards a certain thing, like there comes a point where you're like, all right, that's that thing. I mean, I kind of saying it, and it leads to a place, and I'm doing my callbacks at the end, and to me at least, that's when you know. But I don't know. I think everybody has their own process. Some people just set a date. I feel like they film a special and they're like, in 1 year I'm doing it again, and I'm like, good luck to you. Rooting for you. I hope you get there. And so, I think that shows in some specials. But then it's like, there's some people who do put out a special year, and you're like, they're all bangers. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how those people, but maybe they're just really meticulous about it. And even having a date set, they're like, well, I know that I need to buckle down and work for this. And maybe they're doing what you're doing and writing 90 minutes and then just scaling it down.
Totally. So it's like, some people pull it off, and then some people you're like, so yeah, I think everybody has their own way. But I definitely, for me, because of the gimmicks of them, and I use gimmicks in a self-defacing way. I think very cool. I like to think cool premises. But, like, because of my premises, I'm a little bit more like, once I start this, there's going to be a point where it's over. Particularly this most recent one, like, there was a very obvious, okay, it's ready moment. Because it's just done. Huh. But, yeah, that at least for me.
You choose one.
Yeah.
Where you did a bunch of jokes of like, I hate this thing, and then on the flip side, I love this thing, which is so cool. I went to the filming; it was awesome.
Thank you.
Clear something up for me. How do you feel about David Blaine? For real.
You're
like, I hate him, I love him.
Yeah, and both sides have their truth, but at its core, I love him so much, and I think he's incredible, and I think what he does with magic is like truly special, and it's why I really genuinely dislike when he does some of like the body stuff, because I'm like, I don't care. You're so good at what you do. Just do the thing you do. But he's so good. Now I will say, I tried to talk about this on stage, but this past week I saw David Copperfield in Las Vegas.
Did? That's awesome.
And let me tell you,
I saw him in Vegas as well.
Did you see the alien thing?
No, this was like pre-pandemic. I don't think he was doing an alien thing.
Because I'll say this. It's the worst show I've ever seen in my life. And I do not believe in artists shitting on artists. I never go after another artist. Worst show I've ever seen in my entire life. And he has 16 sexual assault allegations against him and was on Epstein Island, so I feel okay shitting on him. David Copperfield, worst show I've ever seen. Couldn't believe it. The man slept walk through that show that night. The alien thing, the way I got a pretty good impression of him doing it. It was just like, my father once told me, he wrote me a letter. I said, what is this letter? He said, open it someday. I never opened that letter. I lost that letter. I think about it all the time. Where was my father? What would he think? What would he do? No energy, no effort, so many obvious plans. The one that broke my brain, because think about how great David Blaine is. Think about what David Blaine does.
Mm-hmm.
All the incredible things he does. Think about magic. You've been to Magic Castle?
Yes, love it.
Best time of
Couple
your
times.
life. Best
Oh,
time
yeah.
of your life. I love magic.
Me too.
One of the tricks in David Copperfield's show is a spaceship appears in the room.
It was a car when I saw him, so I bet it's just like a
So he does the card trick.
reinvention.
Well, so he does the
Yeah.
card trick too. Quite obvious, that trick. Lazily done, in my opinion. But there's a spaceship that appears in the room above your heads, floats above you. The way he did this trick, get ready for this, Galina, is he turned off the lights for 30 seconds.
Are you kidding me?
It's like, what are we doing? Like, that's not allowed. You're not allowed to turn off the lights. I lost my mind. The people I was with, they're like, how do you think you got in there? I was like, I don't know. Any way. You can do it I can do magic if you turn off the lights.
Yeah,
I
that's
can make this plant disappear if you don't look for 20 seconds. And I can run out of the room with it. What are we doing? I was livid. I was so angry. David Copperfield, man.
Oh. Yeah, I was not expecting you to say that.
I was so...
Freaking lights? Come on.
I couldn't believe it. I literally, as the lights went off, I was like, no. The only rule of magic, you can't turn off the lights. That's obviously not allowed. Of course. I was furious. I wanted to talk about it on stage, and I was like, I can't talk about magic more. I cannot do it.
Yes, you can.
I've talked about it so much because of David Blaine. I want to meet David Blaine so bad.
Well,
He
you're
follows
manifesting
me on Instagram.
He does?
Yeah.
Are you serious? That's a big flex.
I know. We had a little message exchange.
That's so cool.
You know.
I'm sure a million people sent him.
Oh,
Like,
I know.
yeah.
And he finally storied it and was like,
Oh, that's cool.
he storied the hate one, which I was like,
That's so awesome. That's even
I
better.
love that about you. I love you. You're so cool. You're the coolest guy. Have you ever seen oh God damn it, Danny, you piece of shit. The special on Hulu by the magician.
Justin
No.
Williams?
No, we love Justin. Love Justin Williams. Willman.
Willman, yeah.
Oh my God. Can you look up the Hulu special?
Yeah.
Because you have service. The Hulu special by this magician. Neil Patrick Harris produced it. One of the most amazing. I have someday I want to make a comedy special filmed and made the way he did it. It was so fucking good. I love magic.
In and of itself?
Yes. What's the name of the...
Derek Delgadio?
Derek Delgadio. Unbelievable. Best special I've seen.
I haven't seen that. Now I need to see it because I am a really big Magic fan.
You'll love it. It's so good. Little up its own. I think some people mock it, but for Danny, first off, the way it's shot, inject it in me. The way it's shot, like as someone who spends way too much time on his own specials and the way they're shot, oh, so beautifully shot. So well done.
It's so important to think about things like that, though, because somebody has to. You're putting out a full product, and it really shows when someone doesn't consider the filming, the editing, the lighting.
Well, a lot of these there's certain production companies that do 70 to 200 specials a year. And it's like, all right, well, how much individual effort are you putting into those, right? Like, how many specials start with they get announced, first off, they'll walk to the stage, and then they get announced out, and we have the one crane shot for no apparent reason. And then the rest of it, it's a wide. It's a thing, it's a thing, it's a thing. There's one going like this the whole time, back and forth. It's like, we all know that setup, and it's like, why wouldn't you try to do something a little bit different? His special shots so beautifully. So beautifully. So beautifully.
It's
I love
tough
that
to
stuff.
be different with comedy specials in particular.
Totally. And as I can tell you, not rewarded. I can tell you financially, a huge mistake. Yeah, because You Choose is I'm so proud of it.
You should be.
A massive failure on a financial and career level. But I'm so proud of it. And a huge failure on its thesis, which is the biggest, saddest part.
You think so?
Yeah, the whole point of that special spoiler alert, is don't trust the internet, don't trust performers. That special has millions and millions and millions of views through Reels.
Mm-hmm.
Completely out of context, completely void of what it was. The amount of people who have shared hate David Blaine and love David Blaine and are not aware
That both exist.
of the fucking
Oh.
premise of the special is so heartbreaking to me. It drives me nuts. It completely failed on its thesis. And that is the part I always have to live with. Maybe someday it'll get there. But I always, particularly like in the conspiracy theory ones, like those go around big time politically. The amount of right wing, someone this week, a Fox News person, retweeted my conspiracy theory one. And I was
You're like, that is not why I
and
did
I
this
was
at
like,
all.
and I was like, that is maybe what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It is worth knowing the context that that might not be what I believe. For the love of God,
Yeah.
you're doing a joke about a conspiracy theory, and about, and you're missing the context. There's a conspiracy about this joke. If you paid attention, this joke is a conspiracy. It isn't real to a degree. Brutal.
Do you have any conspiracy theories that
So many.
you do buy into?
Oh, so many.
What's your favorite?
So I don't believe in massive conspiracies
Mhm.
on the whole. I think that, and I think in my newer age, like I find a lot of modern conspiracies to be silly, right? It's like there's many that like make sense, right? Epstein, like either killed himself with help or like we obviously know that that happened. That one's obvious and it's doable, right? The big question is it doable? And like that part, that light turned off.
Oh, I noticed something
Right?
happened with the lighting. At first, it was purple, and then it went
went
yellow,
away.
green, and okay. Well, we'll worry about that later.
I don't think it matters for anybody. I don't think anybody cares. But I just, all of a sudden, I was like, not to be all conspiracy, but I was like, wait a second. The light's off.
The call's coming from inside
Wait
the
a
house.
second. So it's like anything like that, I'm a real believer in, of like small circle ability. But then it's like, it's hard because in 2024, there's so many dumb conspiracies. I find myself just constantly fact checking conspiracy theories. And I feel like I've lost, like, now I just feel like I'm not a conspiracy, even though I'm like, I am. I still believe. Of course, they don't tell us everything. Of course, like, massive amounts, the people who have money are going to want more money. That is always one of the core principles of a conspiracy. Follow the money. Basic. So it's like, yeah, are we going to do things politically that really only benefit people with money because those are the people who donate, which is going to make sense because that's how you win. Until we cap the amount you can give people, yeah, why, if you're a candidate, if you want to win politically, you have to guarantee certain things to people. I don't even think this is really a conspiracy. This is just known.
Yeah,
So it's
just
like
logic.
So it's like, yeah, we're going to do certain deals and certain things and certain contracts and certain taxes are going to be so obviously not what they say they are. And the amount of politicians who have to pretend that they believe something when you know if you got them in a back room, they would be like, of course, I don't think every gun on the planet should be available to everyone. Of course not. I can't say that because I get money from this company. Of course. Same with liberals. I really walk the middle on this. Like, both sides. Democrats get money from certain things, and they have to say it whether they are, some of these people are brilliant. These are Ivy League educated, double Ivy, right? Undergrad and grad, Ivy League, lawyer. These are brilliant people. I refuse to subscribe to the idea that some of these politicians are just stupid and they just don't understand. Like, nah, you're not going to trick me. You're smart and you're making a smart choice. And it goes back to that special of, if you're smart, you can say very dumb things in a way that, oh, well, I guess, well, what are you going to do?
And then they sound more relatable.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's stupid. That isn't practical. That stuff really pisses me off. But then there's so many conspiracy theories nowadays where I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Come on. Did we land on the moon? What do you think? Of course we landed on the moon. And then we found nothing. We went up there 14, 13 times, however many times we went up there. And then when there was nothing there, and we went, what the fuck is the point? It costs $1 billion to get up there for nothing. What are we going to do? And then people are like, yeah. It's like, yeah, we went to the moon. Went to the moon. Things happen. Anyway, that's that rant. Sorry I got angry, everybody.
No, it's okay. It's worth being passionate about. I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory, but I heard this on TikTok, the most reliable place to get my information.
Obviously true.
But it's been bothering me ever since I learned this, that formula companies, like baby formula companies, actively lobby against maternity leave because they sell more formula when women go back to work.
Yep. Sounds right.
That kind of thing just like hurts my soul.
Say what you will about RFK, and there's a lot to be said. What he's saying about the food in this country, dead on.
He was the only one talking about it. Obviously,
Spot
he's got a lot
on.
of issues.
I got my other issues with the man. He ain't perfect. He's right. That's the thing. If you can pull yourself out of I believe this side and not this side, and you go to I'm just going to listen to everybody equally, you'll still probably end up on the side that you think you're going to end up on. Naturally. But there are moments where somebody who you disagree with says something, you're like, well, that's true. You know, there are and that's like the frustrating part about politics is that in theory, it should be this democracy should be this hodgepodge where we're taking little bits from everybody and creating this perfect compromised government. And instead it's all like, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things I disagree with. He's dead on about the food. Dead on.
But all the food people are like, no.
Of course not. They're like, what are you, nuts? Do you know how much money we save putting that chemical in there? It preserves it longer. It makes it stay longer. Like, there's a reason it's in there. They're not going to want to give that up.
The food thing is really the most scary, particularly when you travel and you go to Europe. And here it's like, oh, maybe I have a bit of a gluten intolerance. All of a sudden I'm in Europe and I can eat gluten by the pound and be fine.
I know.
And that one really is the most devastating because my two favorite foods are cheese and bread.
And you have a gluten intolerance?
I mean,
or whatever we're calling it now.
Right. It's not nearly as severe.
Yeah.
But as I am maturing in my body, I am certainly noticing the adverse effects of it way more than ever before.
You
where
bloat?
I'm like, I will bloat like crazy. And I'm like, what is all this? It's not weight gain. It's just inflammation. And the inflammation is, I can tell, like, as soon as I eat something, 20 minutes later, like, gut out to here, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate.
I need to pay more attention to that stuff. Because I do eat everything, but I try to eat it as naturally as I can. But it's hard. It's like some of these things that are like organic, but you're still like, but they're not. That's the other thing.
Things get greenwashed, is the new term, is greenwashing things, where you like put all these labels like, oh, these eggs are pasture raised, but there's no, like, we don't know if a label on a thing is real or not.
Totally.
And how low the like threshold is for when they're allowed to say that something is organic or free of whatever GMOs, which like I don't even know if those are really bad for you or not, but like they're allowed to just put whatever label on it.
Yeah.
And we can go, oh, I guess I'm getting the healthy thing.
Yeah, great.
Little do we know we're just getting something labeled as healthy that isn't necessarily actually healthy.
Do you know how long, and to be clear, love their product, love it. I think it's a great product, but it is what it is. Do you know how long on the road I ate Subway thinking I was being healthy?
Oh, and the yoga mat thing? The yoga mat material in the bread? That whole news story?
Which I don't believe. I don't believe there's yoga mat material.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's not a healthy choice.
No, it's definitely not. I used to work at Subway. I can tell you all about how nasty that is.
It's a tasty choice.
Yeah.
Love their product.
Yeah, but Taco Bell's tasty.
Totally. And I wish they just were like, yeah, we're like Taco Bell, but sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
But for years, I was like, I go on the road and I eat Subway. Danny, way to be healthy.
Patting yourself on the back.
What a healthy boy I am. And then I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Are you getting the ham?
No.
Ever? Okay. So let me ruin the ham for you. And granted, when I worked there, it was half my life ago, but I wouldn't doubt if they found a way to make it worse now by cutting even more corners. But when I used to open the packaging where the ham was, it had like this orange-green glisten to it. like this obviously chemical reflective quality that you don't see on individual slices, but you see it when you open the whole package.
It's
So
gross.
Subway, I think, like, kind of, as soon as I worked there, I was like, oh, I understand what this is.
Yeah. And that's the problem. When you don't work there,
Mm-hmm.
you just are like, yeah, it's meat. It's like, in theory, it shouldn't be that bad for you. Like, I'd
Right.
always be like, I'll have like a turkey and cheese, you
But
know?
then deli meat is like one of the worst meats you can get.
I know. It feels like you can't have anything these days. I know. I'm trying to just have meat and veggies, and it's like, what is this life?
We're back to the protein.
I know. Gotta go back. You gotta eat protein.
Just eat Purina.
I know. I don't know what to do. We're in trouble.
We can't end on that. We can't end on being in trouble.
Yeah. But yeah, so everybody has good points is the point. Yeah. I think everything RFK says is on the
I think do
foods.
your best. No highs, no lows.
No highs, no lows. You keep it even keel. Keep it fine. I know I really want to spend a long time in Europe sometime. I keep coming close to booking things.
Yeah.
Where I'd go to Europe for a while and I'm like, ooh.
Are you waiting till you book something? You don't want to just go on vacation and not make it a work thing?
Only so much money in this world, Galina.
I know.
I know how to tell you this. We cannot afford. My wife just went on a vacation over there.
Without you?
Yeah.
Mm. She left you with the dog.
Yep. She left me with the dogs.
Do you and her have any kind of emergency preparedness plan? I like to ask people if they have, because I feel like with all of them, we had so many earthquakes, and not that our area is affected by hurricanes, but there's like so much going on right now atmospherically.
Totally.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, is anyone ready? Because I'm not.
I mean, I always try to think of like what is where we live, right? So it's
Mhm.
like earthquakes minus a like true split, which like I don't think is realistic. Um, you know, there's a lot that can be said about the California government. But what isn't mentioned enough is the fact that they really regulate the shit out of buildings.
That's true.
So, and if you're a small business owner and you try to have a building, you know the nightmare that it is. But the upside is it's really hard to have an earthquake out here that would do a ton of devastation on a building level.
It would have to be like over an 8.
I think that'd be crazy. It would have to be crazy to knock down a lot of buildings out here.
Mhm.
Every building is so built for earthquakes. So, but power out. That's
Mhm.
something that could really happen.
Water
out, stuff like that. So I think knowing that, it's like, have water, have stuff like that. And then, we would have that. We also live in a community. I live in an area that I think would be fine, and we'd all come together. And then on top of that, like having some flashlights, we have a bunch of canned food. But I don't think we'd ever go more than a week without getting our power back, just because for better, we could criticize it all day. California's government is really prepared for this. They work really hard on that. And I actually do believe them in the sense that they are prepped for earthquakes. And we see time and again when earthquakes hit, as scary as they are, how much you look outside and you're like, meh.
Yeah, everything's the same.
Like, my house does not shake when an earthquake happens. I feel it and I get scared. Nothing falls. When I lived back in Virginia and we got a couple earthquakes, shit moved because the house isn't built for it.
Right.
So from there, it's like, I mean, what are like the other? I'm also a big like, where are you going? Like, what else really scares you? So it's like outside of like being able to hunker down for a week, which I think we could do. Then you're into like the world of like, okay, what else would happen? Hurricane, I don't think is a realistic possibility out here. Massive storm, again, just power is my only real concern. yeah, what else like really scares us? And then it's like you get into like aliens and stuff like that, and you're like, well, what are you gonna do? I'm a big like, what are you
At
gonna?
that point, I kind of want to go out in the first phase.
Yeah, same. I used to have a joke about this about like there's no Jews in Walking Dead because they all just killed themselves immediately. Every Jew was like, we're fucking done. What are we gonna do? What are you nuts? I'm gonna live years like this? Like no. I kind of always have felt that way of like if it's a nuclear bomb, it's like yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're gonna drive away from a nuclear bomb? Like, it is what it is. You have to believe in the world and believe that, like, the nice thing about being a conspiracy theorist. Here's a positive. Here's a nice thing about being a conspiracy theorist. Rich people want to stay rich. People in power want to stay in power. You know how you don't do that? Nuclear war, blowing everything up, destroying the world. It actually fucks them. So that is not in their best interest. Nobody wants to do that. It would take a true insane person to do that. You don't actually want that. So that always I always am comforted by the fact that rich people would like things to not explode.
You're so right.
Doesn't that make you feel better?
It makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
Danny Jolles, I could keep you all day, but I won't. But tell people where they can find you, what you have going on.
When does this come out?
Couple weeks.
All right. So, three things. Please follow me on social media. TikTokers are taking our jobs. At Danny Jolles, Jolles. Please follow me. It really means a lot. Truly nice thing you can do. I tour. If you follow me, you will see when I'm touring. But you also put yourself on my mailing list. That's always nice. That's always helpful. Last but not least, and most importantly, stand-up comedy is like hockey. It is fun to watch on TV, but it is just a different experience in person. It is so much better. So whether you see me or Galina or not, look up your local comedy club. Look at the next 4-week lineups, 4 weeks headliners. Google them. Please make sure you can find 10 minutes of uninterrupted actual stand-up, not crowd work, not bullshit. 10 minutes uninterrupted of stand-up, and then buy a ticket and go see them live. You will love it. It will change you. You will never stop going to see live stand-up comedy. It's the best art form on the planet.
That was the best sell for going to a stand-up show ever. Yes, please find Danny, and thank you for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.